Okay, friends, I'm so literally, I think I'm more excited about this Zoom call than I have been about something for a really long time. So I'm grateful for those that are here live, but also for those of you that are going to have the opportunity to view this recording. And here's the thing, even if you're here live, you will probably want to go back and review the recording because you are going to get some great information. And then you may want to end up talking with your spouse or your partner about some of it, and you can easily just go back and listen to the replay. So I'm really excited to have Joy and Mara on and just share about this topic that people have asked me about for years. Because one of the things that I have shared is that my family takes a winter vacation every single year, and more often than not, we pay absolutely zero out of pocket for this trip. On occasion, we do pay a portion of the airfare, but we have not paid for hotel stays in over 4 years. Yeah. And so people, how do you do it, Susan? How do you do it? And I just haven't made the space to share. And then I got like the beautiful, I don't even know, like Joy, I think I reached out to you and I was like, oh my gosh, you are the person. And then I had met Mara this summer. And so it was meant to be, and this was the perfect timing. So before I introduce you guys, I'll just share a little bit of my story and how these techniques have worked for us. And so I'll just preface it by saying I worked in the airline industry for 20 years. I was a flight attendant. And then my husband works still in the airline industry. And no, we did not meet on the job. So just we'll clarify that right now. So no shenanigans like that. However, um, many people assume that we are using his travel benefits and flying standby when we do this. And I will just clarify, none of the travel that I have shared or talked about is using any of his travel standby benefits or industry rates on hotels or anything like that. So, how we've traveled is exactly through the techniques that we're going to share today. So just to give a recap for those maybe that haven't followed me before, I'll share. 4 years ago, we took our family of three to Puerto Vallarta and stayed in an all-inclusive resort for a week. And we also had three airline tickets that we used miles for. So that vacation literally was just tips out of our pocket for, at the resort. We literally paid nothing for that. The following year, we took another week-long vacation in Cabo. We did pay for one airline ticket, but two of us were able to be used with mileage. Last year, we went to Hawaii and stayed for a week. And we paid for one airline ticket. And then we just came back from Puerto Vallarta again, where we stayed for a full week, no money out of pocket, and we paid, I think, for one and a half of our airline tickets. And so, you guys, this, I love how I think it was Joy you put in, your Instagram story. We're not, I'm not able to travel like this because I'm rich. No, it's about being strategic and how you're spending your money and what you can use to take advantage of how you're spending money that you're already spending. And so that is the key. Nobody's going to say, oh, you have to spend more money or something like that. And that's what I really want you to hear in this Zoom. So, and then before I turn it over to Joy, I'll just say my husband and I are going on a Mediterranean cruise in April. Um, and we just booked our airfare. And so we booked flights from Seattle to Athens and then returning Rome to back to Seattle. We used accrued miles. And I think a companion pass that was part of one of the programs that we're in. So we spent about $1,000 for round trip travel for two people for that in April. Um, I was absolutely thrilled. So there is strategy and there are ways to do this. And like I said, it's being intentional with how you're spending your money. That is key. We're not here to tell you to overspend, to go into debt, or do anything risky. This is not a scam. I would never bring something to you that was considered any kind of scam. And only because I've been using this for years with my family that I feel like, oh my gosh, yes, everybody needs to know, right? So it's the small shifts, right? That's my philosophy, small habits, right? So these small shifts you're going to see add up into being really effective for your family, and making it where you can travel. And so it's great. So, all right. So I get to step back because Joy and Mara are going to take over. They're going to share about what's possible, how to start. I think that is the first thing, right? People are like, I don't know. It can be really overwhelming with all the options. They've got you. And hopefully you grabbed the free guide. I will put the link for that in the chat again, but don't worry if you don't capture any of the links in the replay email that's going to be sent out. You'll have all of that too. So just be here and present and listen. Don't feel like you have to take copious notes or whatever, but just be here and be present. So, and like I said, you don't have to be an expert. You don't have to have a bajillion different cards open. There's just really a simple process that you can do. So, all right. So, I want to turn it over to you guys. I have not met Joy in person, but Mara, I
No.
met on the rooftop in Salt Lake City this past summer. I was out for my sunrise and she came up at sunrise and she came over and she said, I just want to come and say hello. I follow you on Instagram. And then we shared just an amazing story together. And then we met together for the next few days at sunrise. And I just feel like it was meant to be. So, yes, so I'm going to turn it over to them. They have some great slides that you guys are going to be blessed with as well. So I'm so grateful that you guys said yes. And yeah, take it over.
Thanks, Susan. You have been a household name in our family for a few years now. Ever since we started really digging in deep into Young Living, it's always been Susan Hyde, Susan Hyde.
Oh,
So Mom was so excited when she got to meet you in person. And thank you just so much for this opportunity to join in and just share about our favorite love, which is travel.
yeah.
So I'm gonna pull up our deck and let Mom take it from here, if it lets me share.
Yes. And I don't think
Oh,
I shared oh, do I need to make her a
yeah, it's saying
co-host
I'm
too?
disabled. Sorry,
Okay,
yeah.
just a second. Let me get her as a co-host. Yes, I want you to say that this is your mom. I didn't connect the dots there, that it's mother-daughter, and I
Oh
love that.
yeah.
So, okay. So I think you're co-host now. So hopefully you're
Okay.
all set.
It still says disabled. Let me try again. Yeah, it's still saying disabled.
Ooh, shoot. No, 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 no. I'm looking at my side notes to see if there's somewhere else. Well, I can't troubleshoot Zoom while I'm on the fly here, which is unfortunate. I wonder if it's only one person that can be co-host. So who is sharing the slide deck?
I can share it. Yeah, I'll share it.
Can you try and see if you can or no? Is it not letting you?
Every time I hit the share button, it says host disabled participant screen sharing.
Okay, well, if all else fails, let me ask ChatGTP. Hang on.
I would say I can send it to you if you want to share it. I can email it to you really fast.
Yeah, you know what? And I think I had it. So, but email it to me right now, and then I can do that, and then we'll keep things moving because I am not super good at thank you for everybody's patience. So
Sorry, I had my email closed. Let me just reopen it really fast.
that's okay. Oh, I think I have it. I have it. I've got it here. So let me
Okay.
let me okay. So let me get myself situated, share my screen, and okay. You guys seeing it? I don't think I have it in presentation mode. Here, hang on just a second. Oop. Okay. Are we good?
Awesome.
Yeah,
Oh
that's
yeah,
good.
yay.
That's good.
Okay. Hopefully I can manage this.
It's okay. We'll just say next. It's all good.
Okay.
I did unmute. Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yes,
Oh, good. Then you may kick it off, Joy.
absolutely.
Okie dokie. Well, thank you, Susan, for having us. It's been a great trip that we're doing all of this together, and to get with you on this whole thing is really fun to do today. So, my story started out with a long time ago, and Joy and I are the mother-daughter duo passionate about helping people understand how they can make their travel dreams come true without, big, heavy burden of stress and without all the money that it makes. And I've been doing this for like 25 years. So we've been around the world several times and all the continents and the northernmost and the southernmost and the equator and you name it. It's just been an amazing journey. And my husband used to think that he would get arrested when we would go on these trips, because we were flying first class or something and we didn't pay for the ticket. And then I said, no, when we get on that flight, nobody knows. We're all treated the same because we've all purchased the ticket in one form or fashion. So it's been great, and we're just really happy to be here with you. Um, I've spent the last all this time doing this and loving it, every bit of it. And my story kind of started a long time ago when I realized that my husband actually had airline miles in an account. And I said, "Can I use these?" And he said, "Sure." So I called American Airlines. And I remember the day I said, "Hey, I've got this amount of American airline miles, and I want to purchase two round trip tickets as far from St. Louis as we can as we can go." And they said, "Well, you could go to Trinidad." And I said, "Well, you know what? I've never heard of Trinidad. This has been a long time ago, guys. I'd never heard of Trinidad." And I said, "It doesn't really appeal to me. So I don't know." And they said, "How about Barbados?" And I said, "You know what? I've never heard of that either, but that sounds kind of fun. Why don't you get us two round trip tickets?" And off we went. And once I got a taste of that, I was so anxious to try to figure out how to make this work, to repeat over and over and over again. Did a lot of research, made a lot of mistakes, but here we are all these years later, and then joy. So,
And
yeah.
yes, I thought mom was crazy for the longest time. And she started this, I was in high school. So it's like the late 1900s is when this started. And I thought mom was crazy. I wanted nothing to do with points and miles. And then about 4 years ago, life hit us really hard as a family. And it just kind of turned into that situation of the only vacations my family ever took were the ones mom took us on. And my kids got to go on annual grandma trips every year. And a few years ago, mom went through breast cancer, and it was kind of that wake up moment for me to realize, like, oh crap, I'm not going to have my mom forever. And it became real to me. And it was one of those moments of what does she know that I don't know yet that I want to learn from her so I can continue it on? And this was the first thing that came to me was travel. So ever since then, I have dove in headfirst and soaked up everything I could from mom. And we have been on many, many trips since then, and continue to go and have just really shared this love together. And I said to her, why are we not teaching others about this? This is so easy. We don't have huge budgets. We don't make a ton of money. Why can't we show others? And thus we started Savvy Travel Mamas to do this together. You can go to the next slide. So I want to start off today, for those of you that don't know what points travel is, points travel is the process of using credit card rewards to travel for nearly free over and over again forever. So this is what we do, and this is what we're going to show you today. Go to the next one, sorry. We do this by strategically signing up for new credit cards to earn the welcome offer, transfer the earned points to airline and hotel partners for nearly free travel. So we're going to go in depth in this today and explain what transfer to partner means and all those aspects of it. We can go to the next.
Oh,
So I have four super simple steps. When you registered for this webinar, you were given our free guide, which we call four super simple steps. We tend to overcomplicate points travel, But in the heart of it, it is really four super simple steps repeated over and over and over again. So, step one is to know your budget. How much do you spend per month on your everyday expenses? We start with a credit foundation. Step two is to get a travel rewards credit card with a high welcome offer. Then we move to step three, which is meet the minimum spend to earn the points, and all you use is everyday expenses: groceries, gas, streaming, kids' activities, whatever you're spending money on Amazon, you're just putting it on that credit card to meet that minimum. Then we go to step four, which is redeem. You use your newly earned points for a vacation. Go next. Before we jump into how to do this, we want to address some myths of credit cards because I live in Dave Ramsey world, so I feel like I hear this all the time. Literally, his headquarters is like a mile from my house. So I have a lot of Dave Ramsey friends and neighbors who work for him. And so I feel like we can't talk about credit cards without addressing the myths before we get going.
So, one of the myths is that all credit cards are the same, and that is absolutely not true because there's such a variety. It's absolutely incredible and fun. Another myth is you will go into debt. Well, if you do, that's on you. You do not have to do it because if you pay every single credit card off every single month, you will not go into debt and you will be the winner in this game. Reward cards aren't worth it unless you spend a lot. That's another false narrative and another myth because if you use them strategically, it will work for you. And having too many credit cards will lower your credit score. Well, how long have I been into it? 25 plus years. I'm still getting new cards and our credit score still remains high. It's absolutely, these are all myths. Don't be fooled. And remember that this whole process only works if you are able to pay your balance in full each and every month. You must be strategic to make it work for you.
So, step one is credit foundations. You want to know your budget, determine how much you're spending on those expenses: groceries, gas, kids' activities, streaming. Can you put your insurance, car insurance on a credit card? Can you put your utilities? Can you pay your cell phone bill? Can you pay those in a credit card? If so, all those things are going to help you determine the right card for you. And then the next slide is going to be continuing that is knowing your credit score. So there's a few checklist items before you go down this journey that you want to make sure you meet. That would be your credit score of over 700, that you are able to pay your bills on time and in full each and every month. That is our golden rule that you never miss if you're going to be in this world. And then know how many new cards you've opened in the past 24 months. Many banks have rules about how many cards you can open, how often you can open cards. So it's good to know where you stand to help, of course, protect your credit. Number one is our goal, but then also to know which cards you can actually apply for that you have a higher chance of approval. The most common rule in banks is the 524 rule, which is you do not open more than five brand new cards in a 24-month period. So that's why we say know where you are in 24 months. So I'm sure you're asking which card is right for you. So that's going to jump us into step three, which we'll go to the next one. I'm sorry, step two. Get the card. And then the average American household spends $4,440 on everyday expenses per month. And then there's actually a part under that too. There you go. The required spend on a travel rewards card will range from $500 to $6,000 in a 90-day period. So when we're looking at credit cards, you want to think about the amount of money that it requires to meet the spend to earn the bonus, plus what your budget is. That's why it's so important to know your budget. The average price or the average spend on some of the top cards is $4,000 in 3 months, which if you break that down, that's $1,300 a month. I don't know about you, but for my family of four, my groceries are around $1,000 to $1,200 a month, and I'm an Aldi shopper. So if you are not an Aldi shopper and you're going to like Publix or Whole Foods, I'm sure you can easily meet that in just groceries. I would just backfill with gas and our occasional dinner out, and then I'm there and I don't have to switch around other things. But that's where knowing your budget really matters. So, our favorite two cards for beginners are going to be the Chase Sapphire Preferred or the Capital One Venture. The Chase Sapphire Preferred is one of the more common ones you hear talked about. It has the most valuable rewards that you can earn in the travel world. It has easy to use transfer partners like Southwest and Hyatt, which are a powerhouse pairing. The downside of the Chase Sapphire Preferred is it's a little more complicated to use on a daily basis if you're tracking how many points you want to earn, such as you can buy your groceries online and earn 3 times back. But if you use it in the grocery store physically, you only earn 1 times back. So it's a little bit more confusing to keep track of for maximizing points, which is why we also say the Capital One Venture, because it is a very easy to use card where no matter where you swipe it or use it, you're always earning 2 times back. So you don't have to keep track of categories. With the Capital One Venture, it has more complicated transfer partners, so they're a little bit more advanced, but it does provide flexibility. Like I just used all my Capital One Venture points to cover our tickets to Disneyland for my family for spring break. So I like that I can get a little bit more creative with Capital One. There's also an elevated offer for the Capital One Venture right now. So I know Susan has that link and we'll include it in the follow-up for you guys too. And both of those cards are $4,000 minimum spend in 90 days. So $1,300 a month and you're there.
So when you're meeting the spend, you're only going to use your budgeted everyday expenses. Don't go out and manufacture spend just to meet a minimum and just blow it on whatever. Be strategic. Groceries, gas, utilities, kids' activities, tithing and donating, medical expenses, streaming, cell phone, internet, whatever are your everyday expenses. Be strategic.
So you've earned the points. Now, how do you redeem them? There are many ways to redeem your points. The most common one that I'm sure we've all used is a cashback statement credit, which is the easiest way to do it. And then there is the next one, purchasing gift cards. So many of us have purchased gift cards with there was nothing wrong with that. Amazon purchases. Every time I go to check out in Amazon, it gives me, that pop-up that says, would you like to use your American Express membership rewards or your Chase Ultimate rewards to pay for this purchase? So we can redeem it on Amazon. Or there's an option to do the travel portal, which a lot of us, when we go to use points for travel, go straight to the travel portal. But the key is knowing how to transfer to partner. This is the piece that makes your rewards so much more valuable. It can double the value of your rewards just by switching from the travel portal to transferring to a partner. We can go Thank you. According to CNBC, now as of last year, 23% of credit card holders are not redeeming their points, and 55% are redeeming it for cashback or gift cards. So, by you learning these skills today, you are becoming a minority and super savvy traveler because you're going to understand what transferable points are. So transferable points only come on a handful of credit cards that come with this piece. And then all four major banks have a credit cards with this capability. American Express, Chase, Capital One, Citi. You probably have some of these cards in your wallet. I mean, so if you have an American Express Gold or Platinum, a Chase Sapphire Preferred or Reserve, or even like the Chase Ink Preferred, a Capital One Venture, Venture X, or if you have a Spark for Business, or if you have the City Strata Elite, you probably have this capability and you may not even know it. Most people don't know that their points can transfer out to a partner. These transferable points are the most valuable type of currency. Just to give you a little bit of math, I don't want to go in deep here on the math, but just for a reference, points that you earn from a credit card at a cash value is typically 1 cent per point. So if you have 10,000 points earned on your credit card, it's only going to be $100. But if you learn to transfer that point to a partner on the right type of credit card, it can become 20,000 points or it can become $200 very easily. So our points are worth 2 times what the average is. There's a lot of math in this world, and I don't like to go into the math too much. I
I,
just use the
I know.
points.
I don't math well either.
I don't really, there are people that go all into how much they got their value points, and I'm like, can I go for free? Perfect, let's do it. Um, okay, so how to transfer to partner. When you're in your portal, I have two screenshots here. The top one is for Chase and the bottom is for Capital One, since those are the two cards we recommended. And when you go to redeem your points, most people are going to see like Chase Travel, right? Redeem for travel. But then there's going to be that little piece that says transfer points, and people overlook it because they're like, I don't know what that means. So you want to look for transfer points because what that does is that means every 1,000 points that I've earned on Chase becomes 1,000 Hyatt points. A room at a Hyatt hotel starts at 3,500 points a night. In the travel portal, that's $35. Um, or it can become a flight. 5,000 points is where Southwest starts on their flights. So that's why Hyatt and Southwest are so valuable. So every 1,000 points in Chase can be 1,000 points in Hyatt, 1,000 points in Southwest, United, Marriott. They have a whole list of transfer partners. The bottom image here is Capital One. So you can book a trip, which is what most people are instantly going to do, which takes us to the Capital One travel portal. Or I can transfer my rewards. The other one is covered travel purchases, which is a whole nother topic in itself, but that's how I paid for my Disneyland tickets. Um, and so I actually, sorry, Susan, can you run
Oh,
back really fast?
sorry.
That's okay. I'm gonna attach this. Susan will have it attached in the follow-up email. I do have a link here for transfer partners. It's a cheat sheet. Not every credit card goes to the same hotel or airline partner. So that is one thing to know. People get these credit cards and they say, well, why can't I transfer to American? My home airport gives me the best deals on American. Well, they only work with certain credit cards. So there are cheat sheets that let you know the best way to use your points. And so we'll have that attached for you guys so you can see that too. Okay, we can move on now. Thank you. All right, so the thing to know is you are just 90 days away from huge savings on your next vacation. You get the credit card, you meet the spend, you earn your bonus. That's a 90-day period, and then you can cash it out on a vacation. So this isn't a long-term thing we're looking at. You can have it pretty quickly.
So
Go ahead, Mark.
here's the reality of those points and miles. You can use them for domestic flights, which usually start about 4,500 points. Hotels can be totally free. Business class seats are often less than the price of economy. Over and over, we've seen that happen in our travels. Bucket list trips for up to 90% savings. You have the ability to repeat over and over again. There's no end to it if you just keep being savvy and smart and strategic.
And we wanted to just share some examples of how points have helped us. And these are just a couple of our trips from 2025. I just did our 2025 recap. Mom took 17 trips in 2025 on points, and I took seven with my family on points. Little different life season, right? Retired versus school age kids. But seven trips is a lot. So a couple of trips that we did was once my son, he's 12, finished reading the Harry Potter series. It was so fun to be able to bring the book to life. So once he finished it all, we told him we would plan this ultimate Harry Potter trip to Europe. And just to be able to say, yes, let's do it, we spent 9 days in London, Scotland, and Dublin, and we saw all the iconic sites, spent a day at the WB Studio Harry Potter tour, saw the Hogwarts Express, the Jacobite, in real life cross over the Glenfannon Viaduct, which is that iconic arched curved bridge looking thing that we see through the movie so many times. The cash value of that trip for flights and hotels only, if we paid, would have cost us $9,834. For three people, it only cost me $785. You can't do that. I mean, you can't even get your flights for that. Maybe one flight round trip.
Yeah.
Um, then I've also started doing one-on-one trips with my kids because it's just a fun thing to help build that bond with them. And so my son, we went to New York City this past summer and spent 4 days in New York City. And the cash value of that trip would have been over $2,000. Our out-of-pocket cost for flights and hotel was $92. And then mom and I took my kids to their first all-inclusive resort in the Caribbean for a getaway. We went to Jamaica. They drank their weight in virgin strawberry daiquiris. Loved the all-inclusive world. And that trip would have cost us over $6,600, but we only paid $793. And the best part of that trip was all inclusive, so there weren't extra fees like eating out or snacks or anything else that you normally have with it. And then
I
mom.
booked a trip for my husband and I this summer, and it's so much fun when you book a trip to see it to come to reality. So the 14-day trip we took to Europe, 7 countries in Austria, Liechtenstein, Switzerland, Italy, Ireland, Croatia, and Montenegro. It was great. So then we have the cash value of those was $21,332. But our out-of-pocket
I'm on it
cost
right.
Oops.
was only about $2,500.
Yeah.
We're just making sure Dad's up.
Sorry,
Yeah,
hang
he's
on.
working. Why?
Okay, and then take his
Let
medicine.
me get,
He did. Thanks.
sorry. We need people to
Hey,
mute.
go
Let
get
me-
on Susan.
Hang on,
Oh,
hang on. I'm trying to
Okay,
figure
okay.
out.
There we go.
Okay, I think we're good.
Okay, next one.
Oops, sorry. Hang on.
You're okay.
Okay.
Okay, so here's some tips for protecting your credit score. Keep that overall credit utilization under 30% and ideally under 10%. As you stay in this game, so to speak, you get more credit cards, and it ideally you can keep it under 10% very easily the more you keep going. Monitor your credit report often, keep your score above 700, know your stats, your number of cards, your inquiries, all of those things. Know the date of your last inquiry. Know all of those things that you can know, and you can learn those from the free credit score places where you can find that out. So that's really a great, important thing to do to protect your credit score and know those things. Here's some other things to be sure to do to alternate your credit applications with your spouse. That's going to open the doors more and more for you to be able to go back and forth using points, opening new credit cards, and making the spends on them. However, do not add your spouse as an authorized user because it's going to limit you down the road. And never close a credit card without having a plan, but absolutely never close a credit card that has no fee on it. Tuck it away, don't use it, but never close it because when you close it, it will affect your credit score.
Oh.
So just hang on to it.
So you guys can find us, and we'll get to questions here in a second. You can find us on Instagram at Savvy Travel Mamas. We do have a digital guide called Credit Card Rewards Made Easy. Now, this is an in-depth 30-page guide. It has video links, it has worksheets. It covers the foundations of your credit score, understanding your credit score, all the way to how to read a credit card, terms and conditions, understanding what that means, to knowing how to meet your minimum spend, creative ideas, how to meet your minimum spend, all the way to how to cancel or close a credit card. We cover every aspect of credit. And today we have discounted that price. It's normally $19.97, but we dropped it down to $5.60, which is the amount that you would pay if you took a domestic flight on points because you have to pay the taxes and it's $5.60. So you'll want to use the code FLY560 and you can get this for the same price of one flight. So it will definitely pay for itself over and over again. We offer one-on-one sessions where we can talk about personalized credit card strategies. We can talk about questions you have. We can help you with points bookings if you have points and you're ready to use them. I had actually a lady reach out to me asking about a little bit more advanced strategy, like how I earn points with meal kits, which is a whole nother strategy in itself. And so, I mean, there's so many things we can talk about. We do a weekly free newsletter that my goal in every newsletter is one actionable tip that you can take away in 5 minutes or less. And then as of yesterday, I teamed up with one of my points friends, Mama, she's She's 75. She's living the retirement life. So I started a podcast with my friend Michelle that we just dropped our first episode yesterday, The Savvy Travel Moms, where it's even though we both travel on points and miles, the goal is to just help moms in general be more savvy in all areas so we can travel more with our families. So check us out. You can scan that and you'll get links to everything on our scan code.
Perfect. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing so that I can easily, so it's question time now, but I'm going to stop
No,
share
that's
because
okay.
then I can come back and I can open
Ooh.
the chat. You guys, I am just like not able. Okay, so I'm scrolling back up here, to the questions. So, um, somebody, I would love to have your itineraries, the specifics for your European trips. That's incredible. Well, maybe if you send them a message on Instagram, maybe that she can kind of give you a rough idea, I'm sure. So, okay, here's a question. How do we qualify for a credit card as a stay-at-home mom?
Great question. So, Heather, that is actually something most people don't realize when they go to apply for a credit card is the income you put your family income. So your combined household income goes on there. So if you're a stay-at-home mom, you would just put your husband's income that he brings in and that you don't have to necessarily say you're working because it's a household income. My friend Michelle, that I just launched the podcast with, she is a homeschool stay-at-home mom. So that is a piece that she is very passionate about as well.
Good. I love that. Okay. Jill asked, do you always use the travel portal associated to the credit card versus trying to book a vacation on an airline app?
Okay, Jill, I have a follow-up question for that to make sure I'm understanding. Um, do you mean like if you're looking at Southwest vacations or JetBlue vacations and they're trying to sell you a vacation package to book through them?
You can unmute yourself, Jill, if that is helpful to answer that part of the question. And then,
Yeah, I'll unmute. I'm looking for the keyboard. Yeah, I'm just curious. It looked like you always went to the travel portal when you were showing, like you were looking at your points, either, use it as cash or cash back. But a couple of times you said you went to the travel portal, and I think it was associated to your card versus just being like on the Delta app or the Southwest app and using points
Got
that way.
Okay. So the Um, I will sometimes with hotels cross compare with the travel portal because Marriott are so expensive in points and Hilton is so expensive in points. Sometimes I can find a better deal for less points through like the Chase travel portal. I actually just did that for our couple nights in Belgium that were going in October. It was cheaper for me to book the Hilton on the Chase travel portal versus Hilton.com. So I always cross-reference. Now with airlines, I will always transfer out to a partner because the points for an airline will stretch further. Um, like
Let me
uh
let
oh,
me
go
give
ahead,
an
Mom.
example. Let me
Yeah.
give an example. This happened this last night when I was booking another trip. I was looking in the American Express travel portal and found that we could do a trip, one round trip ticket for like 96,000 points, American membership rewards, or we could pay like $962. And I got to thinking, that's crazy. That's ridiculous. And that was an economy seat. So then when I realized, I did another search on a Google thing that said the cheapest trip was going like on American Airlines. Well, you can't transfer membership rewards over to American. So I knew that was out. So I went straight to the American app and looked to see what the American Airlines were. And I could literally get an American Airlines ticket round trip for 56,500 miles, business and first class. That's as opposed to like the $962 or the 96,000 through the American Express portal. So it made sense to me to take the business class seat, business and first class seat for that amount of points. When it came down and I got both tickets booked, in reality, it was 93,000 points for two round trip business and first class tickets. So it was, we almost got two for the price of one by going that way. So you just have to be open to see and make comparisons of what's going to be the best. And that's one of the places that we can help you when you get ready to book. If you're having trouble with it, we could do a quick 101 session and show you how to make that work for you. So that answer?
I think it's helpful, right? This is all new, right, for a lot of us, but yeah.
Right.
Yeah. Kim, yes, you'll get the replay for this workshop. No worries. Okay. Melissa says trying to save on flights to Canada, but points don't seem to be available for that. Need American flights. So, have you guys run into this issue
Yeah.
previously? Okay. Do you want to speak to it?
Okay, so this is a little bit more advanced tactic, Melissa, depending on what kind of credit card you have. Um, so there are things called airline partners. So you can get American Airlines flights and you book through like Qantas, right? If I had the Capital One Venture, I would look and see if I can find that same flight on Qantas, which is an Australian airline, but I found domestic flights on there and can still use points. Same thing, like if I have Alaska or Atmos, and so there's airline partners. Like you can book Delta and you can use Virgin or Air France miles to book Delta flights for less. Or, I mean, so there's so many like backdoor ways to work around it. And those are tactics that are a little bit more advanced that come down the road. That's why we always say like Hyatt and Southwest are the best starting partner because they're so straightforward. Southwest doesn't do like the airline partnerships with all these backdoor avenues, and they're super valuable points. But there are definitely workaround ways around it, and that could be something we would be happy to help you with to find the best deal for your trip.
That's good. Okay. Well, I will just tell you, what you guys are doing is way more advanced than what we have been doing, or my husband has been doing. So, but I will say that we are part of the Hyatt, loyalty. So he has status with them. So that brings in, different benefits, right? And so
Mhm.
that's how we've been able to get our free hotels is through his status there with points. So it's a little bit different. But I'm like, oh, he's gonna have to listen to this and see, whatever, how we can even maximize more. But okay,
Mhm.
I will pull up the QR code again here in just a minute. We'll go and do a few more. Christine asked, should I get rid of my Alaska card? I feel like it's not worth the annual fee.
Oh gosh. There are a couple Alaska cars. So that would be something I'd want to follow up and probably take offline to ask you more questions. We have a checklist that we send out like in December, early January to our newsletter followers to talk about doing that annual card review, questions to ask yourself, like, am I using my benefits? What are my plans with this card? What do I gain from it? And just really sitting down and diving deep into each one of your credit cards and then coming up with a plan for the right time to either cancel or downgrade it. So there is a whole strategy involved in that. Some of that information, actually, all of that information is also included in our credit card rewards made easy guide. We give all that entire checklist in depth, how to determine if it's a card you should keep, if you should downgrade, or if you should cancel, with talking scripts, to call the airline or call the credit card companies and talk to them. So we have prompts in there too.
Oh, I love that. So, I mean, so for me, we do have the Alaska card. And in fact, we are going to open a business Alaska card again,
There
which
you go.
we had one for a while, but now they've switched over, right, to this Atmos. And so I think, right, what you're saying, Joy, like for me, we live in Seattle. That's Alaska airline Mecca. And so for us, it's been very beneficial to have that card because there are a lot of other perks that go along with that card,
Hmm.
but it is, right? All in determining, are you using those perks, right, that come with it versus, not. There may be a better card for the goals that you have in mind. So I think it's great to always ask that question. So Heather says she subscribed to your podcast. She's looking forward to it.
Oh, yay.
Julie says, is it possible to work? I'm assuming you were saying with a travel agent when booking with points. It just says with travel. So do you want to speak to that?
For sure. So travel agents are a little different than what we do. So they don't work with points. Most travel agents I know don't really know too much about the point side. They always have lots of questions for me. Um, But so they work a little different. What they do is they have like certain hotels and airlines that they're going to work with, and
Mm.
you don't pay them, but the airlines and hotels pay them a commission for sending you to them. And they just, you give them a budget and they give you the best option within your budget. The way we work is your points are your points. Like I can't physically book your points for you because then you'd have to give me your credit card logins, you'd have to give me your airline hotel logins and all that personal information that I don't want. But what I can do is give you a step by step on how to exactly best use your points and tell you what to do to book them and find the flights and find the hotels for you.
Gotcha. Okay, that's good. Uh, Ada asked, can I transfer JetBlue miles to a partner?
So most airlines and hotels are what they are. When your points go to them, they're really only good for that airline or that hotel. With a caveat, right? Like Marriott has an airline partner where you can transfer them, but it's not a great value. It's like a 3-to-1 or 4-to-1 value, right? So it takes three times as many Marriott points to equal 1 point for that airline. I can't remember which one it is. Um, so you can't, I wouldn't really worry about trying to transfer your JetBlue miles anywhere. JetBlue has some amazing sweet spots. Like when I took my son to New York, we flew to New York for 3,400 miles a person each way.
Mm.
So if you have JetBlue miles, I would be looking at Boston, I would be looking at New York, and I would hop on some sweet spot trips and use those miles.
That's a
And
great.
look for their partners because you can book
Yeah.
using JetBlue miles on a partner airline, and oftentimes it's even less.
I want to actually expand upon that because I think that's confusing too.
Yeah,
So the way that it works when we say book on a partner,
yeah,
basically you still go to jetblue.com. You still search jetblue.com. And what'll happen is it'll pull up the all the flights. And there's usually a little button at the bottom that says like search partner airlines too. And you would click on that button to search partner
yeah,
airlines. So it might be a airline that you can get on JetBlue, but when you look at the details, it'll say like this is a United flight. Or it will say, I'm trying to think who all their partners are. They don't have too many. Like American, right? American is a huge one. It'll say like this is an Alaska Airlines flight, or if you're in Alaska, it'll tell you it's an American flight, or this is a Qantas airline flight.
yeah.
So that's what the partners are. You would still log into your main airline account and search, and just make sure that button to search partners is clicked, and it'll give you everything that you have access to.
Yeah.
You see this mostly in international flights, because like maybe that airline will only get you to Europe, but if you're trying to go farther, American might not go to that next destination, so they're going to partner with like Air France. Actually, they're not partners with Air France. Sorry, bad example. But they would partner with like a European airline, British Airways,
Yeah.
to get you to that next destination that does fly there directly. So that's
And that's a
airline partners.
Yeah, and that's a part of what we teach. You have to be your own agent. And then if you run into a snag, then we're here to help you out to figure it and to teach you further.
Yeah.
So it's a lot, but it's entirely possible. If I stumbled through and learned it and kept with it all these years, anybody can do it.
But
Just set your
it's
minds to it.
like it's stepping stones, right? You first get
Right,
in, get familiar with, getting your
right,
that first card, right? And what does
right.
that look like, and then it's you're building upon that knowledge. So I love that. So
Yeah.
okay, let's scroll down. Jill asked, after you meet the spend and get the points, do you keep the cards open? I think that is a yes, right? Because you guys mentioned you never want to cancel a card, right? Unless you have a specific reason to. Is that correct?
Yes, and you need to keep it open at least 1 year and 1 day past that. Because if you grab the reward, meet the spin, grab the reward, and cancel the card, remember the old-fashioned term blackball? They're going to blackball you. I mean, you're going to make a bad reputation with some of the banks, and you don't want to do that. You want to keep your relationships with the banks good. So keep it during that length of time, maximize your usage of it. And then, like Joyce said, some of the guides will help you to understand and will help you determine for yourself if it's worth it and what your next steps should be and how you should approach it for the best reconciliation without damaging your credit score. So don't get in a rush. Just take it step by step. And part of our strategy also is to help you figure out what's best for you in the order in which you should get cards, because each of these banks have different sets of rules. And that was so confusing to figure all of that out. Every bank has its own set of rules, and you have to adhere to each of those, or you're going to get yourself in a mess. Back in the Wild West days, like when I started before all the rules were there, I could go in and apply for 7 credit cards willy-nilly in one day and get approved for them all. But you can't do that anymore because the rules are so different, but they still work and it's still worth it.
Perfect. Okay. Allison, she just jumped in. I don't have a credit card. Would I still be able to get points? Well, I think you missed the first part of the call. So watch for the replay link because you're going to want to see the step-by-step process that's how you earn your points that you're able to redeem. So
If I can jump in right there really
yeah, go
fast.
ahead.
So Allison, there are some advanced strategies that, and I want to make a guide on this, like a paid digital guide. I just hadn't yet, but you can earn points without an actual credit card. It's through shopping portals is the
Oh,
biggest
yes,
way,
yes. Oh my gosh,
and
yes, we
that's
didn't even touch on that today because
it's
you were a whiz
there's
at it
so
too.
much. Yeah, there's so much information. Like if we were doing a deep dive on points and miles, y'all, we would never leave. I feel like I still learn every day.
Well, you're built.
But there are ways you can earn points. You can't earn them as quickly or in huge lump sums, right? So it's more of like a slow process, or it's a way that I use to like fill in earning points along the way if I'm not working on a minimum, just being really strategic. So there are some strategies for that. I would say having a credit card though is going to be your best way to earn a large sum of points really quickly to be able to take a bigger vacation.
Yeah. One of the things I have mentioned before is the app Rakuten. And so that's one Joy I saw that she was talking about too. I'll put a link to that in the email that goes out as well. If you don't have that, it's free. In
Yep.
fact, when we were sitting booking our trip for Europe a couple weeks ago, I said, "Oh, I got to check there to see if we book," because we were booking directly with certain airlines. And sometimes when you do, or you book a hotel, all you do is link through them, and then it takes you to the main site, and you still, can input any discount code, all of those things. You're just kind of going through them, and you earn it's cash back, friends. It's not more points, it's cash. So then you can go, and I think you probably are more advanced on this, Joy, but you can redeem for airline stuff. But I mean, I just get the money deposited in my bank. So it is another strategy to stretch your budget for sure. So,
Rakuten, if you have an American Express card that earns membership rewards linked to it, you can actually turn them into membership rewards that you
oh,
then can transfer out to a partner. Or if you have Built, which is a newer player in the game, they're usually like people who pay rent have had a Built credit card, or now they just dropped literally like 2 weeks ago a way to pay your mortgage on a credit card.
my
Um,
my stepson, he's like, I'm a whiz. I could have come and taught some of this class because he was telling us about that he just got that card so that because he lives with roommates, and so he collects their money from them, right? And he's the one
oh,
that pays the
nice.
mortgage. So it's like
Yeah.
Yes.
anyway, like I
Um,
love when young people can really get smart right on this. So,
yes. And so now Built just partnered with Rakuten too. So I'm looking forward to having my Rakuten turn into Built points because they transfer to Atmos and
okay.
American.
Oh my gosh. Good. Yes, my husband's gonna have to listen to this at the end. So, okay. So Wendy asks if you book with a partner airline like Airways instead of American, how does that affect you if your flight is delayed or canceled? There's no difference whatsoever, right? That's been my experience.
Correct. It'll still be like the same. Whatever airline you booked through will take care of you. But there are a lot of rules outside of that that as a traveler you should know about and educate yourself on because sometimes your best resources are not going to come directly from the airline. They're
Yeah.
going to come from like the government, which
Yes,
Susan, you
totally.
probably know more about that than I do.
Yes,
Um,
totally. So,
or your
okay.
credit card.
Yeah. Jill asks, it's a lot to keep track of. How many cards can a person have open? She says, I only have three, American Express Platinum, Delta American Express Platinum, and Citi. So how many cards can a person have open at once?
As many as you want. Mom?
Between my husband and I, we've got over a deck of cards worth.
Yeah. But
You
you
just
have
have to
some
be
tucked away,
strategic and
right?
careful.
Some are tucked
Oh,
away
yeah.
that, you've met those requirements and so they're tucked away, but that's, yeah.
And you
So
rotate, and yeah.
perfect.
The
Okay.
key is keeping up with them. Once you
Yeah.
start opening more, it's keeping up with them, which their
Right.
resources. There's a lot more resources out there than when mom started. She
Mhm.
did everything manual, like notebook paper style, kept up with it all, set a calendar, reminders in her paper calendar. Now there's apps and tools and resources that can help you with all of that. And we cover some of those in our guide as well with links out so you can sign up for them too.
Okay, I'm gonna just share the screen again one more time um, to, oops, hang on. How come it's not? There we go. Let me scroll through all the way to the end so we can get that QR code up here again because I know people were asking. Okay, how come it's not? Of course, it wants to be a little stubborn. Hang on. Let me refresh and then scroll through here. It's just, I have to be more patient. And that's what it is. So, all right, you guys had great questions. I will say that it's been amazing because, like I said, I have learned a lot. So, sorry if anybody gets dizzy as I'm scrolling through these really quick.
I can answer
Um,
one more question while you're scrolling that I
yes,
saw come
of
across.
course. Please do.
Someone asked about the when I did the American Express travel, and that one, it does not
Mm.
transfer to American Airlines. No, it does not. However, we had American Airline miles because of the results of other credit cards that we had done with a large sign-on bonus for them. So we had the miles sitting there. So that was much more efficient for us to go directly to American Airlines and use those miles for that. That made sense.
Good.
So
Oh,
you got a lot of pots to choose from when you get
right.
really into this.
And
Okay.
that's
Hope.
the thing, is there's no like right or wrong way. Once you
Right.
understand the rules, I mean, you once you understand the rules and you get a rotation of a few really good, solid travel cards in your wallet, you
Uh-huh.
can just keep going. Like you can focus on shopping portals to earn more points. You can focus on like we did a session around the holidays where we called it a holiday spending challenge, where we showed you in 10 days how you can earn more points without signing up for a new credit card and turn all of your holiday spending into a free vacation. So it's like there's so many ways you can go, and there's no right or wrong way to use your points. You
Right.
use them for what makes you happy and what makes like what works for your family. You know, me cashing out all my Capital One Venture Miles for Disneyland tickets would make so many people cringe because they could get like 10 business class flights for the same amount of points. I'm not flying business class, but I don't want to pay for Disneyland, but I still want to give my kids that experience while they're young and have that opportunity. So I cashed out my points for it, you know? Like you got to do what works for you and your family. And I have a strict rule if I pay, I don't go. So I will find any way I can to make points work for me to limit my expenses when we travel.
Yeah. Good. That's good. Okay, I think we went through all the questions, you guys. This was awesome. Oh my gosh. Oops, hang on. Joy, you had
Oh,
mentioned an app that would tell you when and which cards to use. What was the name of that app?
card pointers. We do have an affiliate link for that. I am 99% positive it was on that link that Susan put up. It's on our main page. If not, I will go double check it and add it.
Okay,
Um,
yeah. Send it to me and then I
okay,
can put it in the email before I send that out. So, yeah. And then I
make a
will
note
do
right
that.
now. Yes, card pointers is the one that I personally like to use. It tells me which card to use wherever I am. It helps me keep track of my card benefits so I don't miss a monthly benefit on a card like my $7 Dunkin' Donuts credit or, did I use my Uber Eats credit this month or whatever it may be. It helps me keep track of all of those too.
Oh, that's good to know. Okay. Perfect. All right. So I will be sending out a replay for those that opted in and you where you got this link. And so I'm excited, you guys. There's so much here, but I will leave you with this. Do not get overwhelmed, right? Don't leave here feeling, this was too much, and then you don't do anything, right? Just maybe go back and re-listen, go back to the first part and choose one of those beginner cards. Start there. That's all you need to do right now. And once you get your feet wet, then you can go on from there. But don't leave this just sitting on the table and you missing out because maybe it just seemed like it was too much. We all start at the beginning, right? We all start
Right.
at the beginning. So, all right. Thanks so much, ladies. It was such a pleasure. And I'm so grateful that you came because you shared 10 times more great information than I could have. So, all right, you
Thank
guys, go
you.
have a great
Thank
day.
you.
Thanks.
Thank you so
Thank
much.
you. Thanks.